I'm Nadia Sawalha, a working mum to my gorgeous girls, Maddie and Kiki. Not forgetting wife to Mad Mark. And then, of course, there's my dogs, Chichi and Toffee too. Growing up, dinner was always a family affair. With my Arabic father and my mum's obsession with all things French, mealtimes were tasty and exciting. Over the years, I've begged, borrowed and stolen cooking tips. I love to cook and I'm always in my kitchen. And now I'm excited to be finding out about the fabulous family feasts people enjoy around the world. Taking inspiration from busy households for simple recipes. During the series, I'll be hanging out with some fantastic chefs and cooks from every country imaginable as they share the dishes they grew up with and love today.
I just want to feed everybody.
Every one of which we want you to have a go at. Oh. And if that wasn't enough, they'll be sharing the ingredients they couldn't live without to help you along the way.
Oh, naughty.
So buckle up and hold on tight for my fantastic family feasts. Pick, run. Hello and welcome to the show. Today I am whisking you off to India, the land of rice, spice and all things nice, and helping me in my mission to create an Indian family feast of epic proportions is barrister turned curry evangelist Nisha Katona. Welcome, Nisha.
So nice to be here.
Oh, lovely to have you. Now, what is an Indian family feast like? You've got everyone round, you've got, you know, it's the weekend and you're properly feasting. What would you have?
Oh, it's just, you know, I'm smiling just thinking about it because it's all around, it's not just family. You open the doors, everyone comes in. Pans, food served in pans. Big pans full of really warming stuff. In India, you'd eat meat maybe once a week if you're lucky, because if you want meat, you go out and you buy a live chicken.
My Middle Eastern family, looks like you've got to have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different dishes. Is it the same?
Exactly. So you judge someone, and when you go around to someone's house, you say, how many items? How many items you're cooking? A good person is a 7-item person, you know what I mean?
Oh, it's the same with the Arabs. Yeah. It's, my dear, we only had chicken and fish and lamb.
So
like one meal.
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh, so there's going to be a lot of similarities. Yeah. I'm really excited about learning lots from you. So let's have a look at what's coming up. Nisha's taking breakfast by the horns and treating us to Chole, one of India's most popular breakfasts. For lunch, I'm making hearty Tarka dhal with lots of garlic. For dinner, Nisha's going all out with a gingerbread lamb raan, and I can't begin to tell you how happy I am about that one. And for dessert, I'm taking on a brand new recipe, carrot halawa with ice cream. My mouth is literally watering. So what are you going to make for us for breakfast?
This is one of the most popular dishes in India for breakfast. It's called Chole. It's just chickpeas. What do you call chickpeas?
Chickpeas.
Chickpeas in your... Yes, in Stoke Newington.
I'll just call them chickpeas.
We call it chickpeas, yeah. What we're doing is simmer them in a gorgeous tea-based sauce, which is very common. But we're also going to have a fantastic black cardamom rice to go with it.
Oh, God.
And this is all... Let me just get this hob on.
Yeah.
Hob on. And this is all about how simple making rice is. You know, I love showing this dish because it's all about what you don't do when you're cooking rice in the Indian kitchen. It's really a hands-off, let it do its own thing kind of...
I love cumin seeds.
They're dormant. They only come alive once you fry them, and I want them nice and dark.
And they get really nice and nutty as well.
They do.
I love a fried cumin seed.
So I'm going to put, say, 4 black cardamoms in, get them into the oil.
Oh, cool. I love the smell of those.
You like
I've never used these.
It smells medicinal, doesn't it?
It's a good smell,
Yeah, it's a
though.
good smell. You're broad-minded, but when you cook rice with them, it encourages out of the rice this real depth of earthy flavour. Oh, they're shouting at me. It's fantastic. I am just going to put the rice in here. Can you see it steaming?
My dad does this. My dad always fries his spices first, then puts the rice in, stirs it round.
So, 1 cup of rice. This is my secret formula. 1 cup of rice to 2. Builder's mug is enough to feed 4 hungry people.
OK.
Builder's mug of rice to 2 of water. Do you know what? If you can't cook my food with a child on your hip and a phone in the other hand, it's no use to anyone.
Yeah.
All right. Can you just stir that for me 1 second?
So you keep stirring it?
Yeah, OK.
Ooh.
Just stir it for a second while I put it. It's fine now.
Yeah, because otherwise the starch starts to come out and it gets sticky.
You've been trained well, haven't you?
I know me rice.
The fear of rice.
My dad terrified me, but you see, he would be going now, no, You have to boil the water. No, this will not work. But I love that. I love it when people get really...
They're really passionate.
Yeah, passionate about their recipes.
So what we're going to do is we're going to let this simmer until you get to that point of panic where you start thinking, is this too wet? Is it too dry?
Right.
What am I doing? Then you start feeling bullied by the grain. What you then do, lid on, literally, and put it on the naughty step. Put it on a cold surface or just switch the heat off. Leave it for 10 minutes and that rice will have cooked itself. OK, tea steeped chickpeas, are you ready?
Yeah.
A touch of oil, and you only really ever need enough oil to crackle those spices, to bring those spices alive. So the head note spice here, the one that's going to give it the main purpose, go a bit heavier on that, is cumin seed. And again, we're going to just let those go in.
Releasing the flavours.
Can we just look at this rice and think, are we panicking? I'm panicking.
Oh, it looks great.
I'm thinking, oh,
look,
my
we've got
word.
Holes.
Yeah, we've got holes. There's no loose water. I don't know what to do with that. So
See those holes? That's what my dad always says. Where are the holes? Now, I'm just going to show you my little machine.
Yeah, do.
I use this. And it is an absolute godsend. Look at this. You have to say, la, la, la. Chopped. My little dance goes a bit like this. Come on, but it's fantastic. I just can't live without it.
How small
amazing.
Do you want it? That's perfect. My gosh, that's
small.
smaller than smaller than the Tell you the secret on the how small do you want your onions? The thicker the sauce, the smaller the onions.
The thicker the sauce, the smaller the onions. So I like that.
Yeah. So, and the garlic, don't forget the garlic. Is that getting its own little
The garlic will get its own little thing.
All right. I'm going to start with the ginger. Ginger in.
So we've got cumin seeds, we've got onion, we've got ginger, we've got garlic, we've got starving hungry now because it smells
good. OK.
So good.
Every curry based on simply 3 spices. It's the simplest food in the world. 2 of those never change. Turmeric and chilli are the mother and father of all curries.
Wow.
And they go in, and they have a very specific role. So turmeric is a ground
Tell me
root.
about turmeric, because I don't fully understand turmeric.
Turmeric is a really interesting thing because it is the defining spice of it. I'm going to put a little bit more in. So look at that. That's about a heaped teaspoon. I'm not scared. Just, you know, use your eyes. It looks nice and golden. But turmeric is the defining spice of Indian cookery. And the reason is it's a ground root. Can you smell that earthiness? It's almost like the flavour of sun-kissed earth being brought into a dish. It's the point at which
sun-kissed earth.
Yeah,
I like that.
The point at which a stew becomes a curry is when you add turmeric. What's really interesting is they've started to use turmeric implants in the fight against breast cancer.
Really?
We're not messing around. This is a really impressive spice.
Ooh.
Especially activates when you cook it with black pepper or ginger.
This is the thing, isn't it? I was watching a programme of that. You have to cook it. Just having a turmeric capsule isn't the same thing.
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
Chilli powder. So remember we talked about turmeric being foundation? Chilli powder is there to give you a background of warmth. I do not like hot curries. I don't put chilli powder in for heat. I put it in just for a background of warmth, and that's what we want from chilli powder. I am going to throw into this, just because it's getting a bit dry, I'm going to throw my tomatoes in. All right? So just tin tomatoes. Turn the heat down a bit. With this, I want it to be a little bit darker, so I'm going to go in with a bit of cumin powder, and that's going to make it a little bit more curry-like.
I always like putting cumin seeds and cumin powder together.
Yeah.
I like both.
Yeah. This is a really good base sauce. And honestly, what's amazing about this is that you will not miss the meat, I promise you. So I'm going to do chickpeas, and at the end of this, I'm going to throw some spinach in, because you can throw whatever vegetables you want in with it. So the chickpeas go in. A little salt. Whenever, really, you cook with tomatoes, it's always good to think about whether you want to add a little bit of sugar, just to bring those natural sugars out of the tomatoes. The last ingredient and the key ingredient here is tea. So in India, they do this because the tannins in the tea add a beautiful piquancy to this dish. They really wake it up and give it a very important flavour profile. You know what? Let's have a look at this. Do we want the lid on? Yeah, I want quite a wet dish on this, so let's get the lid on, let it steam a little bit, a low heat.
Lovely.
And then in about 20 minutes, it's done.
Oh, I'm getting really excited now. The rice is cooked, yeah?
Can you see how separate it is?
Perfection.
Completely perfect and completely unmolested.
Spinach.
OK, what's anything? Spinach, cabbage, a bag of old rocket that you've got, pea shoots, anything. Chop in and throw. And so, tiny bit. Do you like coriander? You
Yep,
good,
I like
good, good,
coriander.
good. Okay, we always put the stalks in because there is a lot of flavour in the stalks and there's a bit more body in them. So coriander, when you heat it, if you cook with coriander, it becomes denatured. OK, so a bit of coriander. And we throw that in on the top. And I'm going to stir it through. I do want that flavour, so the stalks do give you that. I think that's it. Done.
Can we eat it, please? Put it in the bowl, please,
All right,
Nisha.
bowl's ready. I'll be ready. OK, I've used the wrong spoons for things, but this will have to do, so let's get some of the rice.
We're at home.
Oops, and I'm making a mess.
Good, love
this
it.
This is home
I
cuisine.
love it when I have a chef in that makes a mess.
And then let's get a little bit of that going on.
Oh, please, please, please. Oh. That is so good. Well, have a go at that, guys. It really is fantastic. Now, she's inviting us to her home to find out exactly how she built 18 restaurants in just 5 years.
My parents came over here in the late 60s and they came over as doctors, and very typical of Indian doctors back then. They could only work in the towns that no English doctors would want to go to. And so we started our life in a very working-class town in the north of England. And it was tricky. We were the only Indians in the village, and my earliest memories, honestly, were of being firebombed, of bricks through windows. My mother's memories were of being spat at by the very patients that she was then going to treat. And you would think that that could completely crush you, but the strange thing is, you just want people to like you. You want to integrate. And I saw my parents do that using food in a really generous way. So what would happen is my mother would finish work, and this is very typical. She'd come back and cook about 10 curries. And the house was pretty much open, and the teenagers would come in with us and the children, and then slowly their parents would come in. And initially they'd bring the ham sandwiches with them, but then slowly they were tasting this food, and it was the greatest, in my view, force of integration, this ability to cook, this ability to show hospitality and generosity to the people around you without being ashamed of the way your food smelt. Now, people are queuing up because of that smell, and I love England and I love the British for being so open-minded now in that way. Very typical of many Indian children, we were raised to be doctors and lawyers. So my brother became a doctor, and I was a very good girl. I became a barrister, straight through. And I was a barrister for 20 years, and all the while, obsessed with food. There was a part of me that thought, you know, if I'm addicted to this kind of food, maybe, you know, the nation could be too. And that's when I thought about starting my first restaurant. Miraculously, after about 3 weeks, the queue started to form. And it was a miracle. You know, I did not think that this would survive, and the queues have not gone down, and it's just incredible. This dish is what made me want to become a restaurateur. It's what you get outside every office, on every street corner, outside schools, in railway stations. You get a variation of this. Generally, it's called chaat. I have brought my own spin to these, and these are called the yogurt chaat. What's so incredible about them is within that tiny little package, there are at least 20 different ingredients. So you have one man, you give him a rupee, he takes his little parcel, puts it all together, gives it to you, and you stuff it in your mouth, and my word, the flavors and the stimulation is like nothing else. They're fragile little blighters. You have to eat them as soon as they're made, and they've got to go down in one, so here goes. A million flavors, absolutely, completely addictive. I might just have to have another one.
I mean, it's like madness what I'm about to do, to cook Tarka dal in front of you. But I'm going to have a go. Me and my kitchen fairies. Hello, kitchen fairies. Hello. There they are, you see. They've helped me out with this. I'm going to start with this, which is called a delica pumpkin.
Well, are you just going to laugh
I didn't know this until last week, because this is just the thing I would put cobwebs on for Halloween. But apparently this is a bit flash, it's sweeter, and it's more expensive. So you could just use an ordinary one if you wanted, or a butternut squash. But I think it holds itself a bit better.
Oh, you're becoming all serious
in polite society. So I'm going to start by just putting that onto my baking tray. Voila. And I'm going to add some ghee. Now, can you talk to me about ghee?
Clarified butter.
Yeah.
So it's the purest form of animal fat. The way that we make ghee is we get a big load of full-fat milk and we boil until all the water is evaporated and you're left with a thick layer of fat, pure animal fat, and that's what that is.
So I'm going to pop that in the oven, in a hot oven for 25 minutes till it gets nice and soft.
So on the ghee point, Nadia, what is interesting is one of the few places that I would ever use ghee is, in fact, in dhal.
Oh,
so
okay.
you are so right in using it.
Can you slice the garlic for me and chop the chilli for the dal? Over here, I've got some water.
Yeah.
Put this on. And to that, I'm going to add my lentils. So I've soaked these and rinsed them 3 times, which you wouldn't do because you love starch.
No. Lentils don't give off the starch in the way that you think, so no, we always wash lentils.
OK, so I'm going to add some salt. You wouldn't.
You can. No, it's a good thing, and it quickens a cook, yeah.
And I'm going to add some turmeric, because we've already talked about how wonderful turmeric is.
I love that you're adding the turmeric in with the water. That's a really good dal tip. Turmeric in with the water.
Yep.
Fantastic. So far, so brilliant.
OK, so I'm going to bring that up to the boil, and then I will simmer it for 15 minutes.
Simmer it for 15 minutes until it's the consistency that you like.
Now I'm going to heat more ghee.
Superb.
Would you put ghee for your...
It's like cooking with my mother. You would. You can. You don't have to, but you can. That's a lot of ghee. That's great.
Well, that's only a quarter of what I was going to put in.
Is it really?
That was quite handy you mentioned that at that point. I was going to put 4 of them.
Honestly.
OK, so is ghee bad for you?
Not great. Do you know what? It's better than processed fat.
Yeah.
But it's still, you know, it's still saturated animal fat.
Yeah. So I've got my onions frying now.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put my cumin in now.
Yes. I love your patience with me.
No, I'm loving it. Listen, this is what's so exciting. This is why I love this show, is because it's a bit of how we do it, but also really learning how you do it in your kitchen at your mother's knee. That's what I want to know. OK, and a teaspoon of mustard seeds and stir it. I probably shouldn't move it around a bit. We just want the mustard seeds to pop. I like that.
I'm going to throw these in.
OK.
Do you want the garlic and the chillies in?
What do you think?
I think we should throw the garlic in, give that a minute.
Yeah, I do, to get brown.
Look what's happening to your pan. Oh. There is the god of the dals.
Oh!
What was he saying,
Oh, my God. This is all going so terribly well.
This is right. This is true home cooking. I'm going to get the chillies in.
Chillies in.
Do you want to deal with the dal? And
Onions
I'll deal with this. Yeah?
Well, no, can you deal with the dal? Because I don't know what to do.
Let's do with this. Let's switch it off.
I'm going to put some coconut in.
Perfect.
See, I got distracted, didn't I?
OK, so let's see how this dal is doing. It's doing well. It's nearly there.
Yeah. Right, I've turned that off. I like them crispy and brown like that.
It smells so good.
A wee bit almost burnt.
Oh, gosh, it smells amazing.
If you could put the coconut into the dal, would you put coconut in it?
I'm starting to hate myself.
No.
But I wouldn't.
Oh, no, but that's great. I want to know.
No, but do you know what? This is so nice because this is Nadia's dal, in my view.
Let's have a taste. Let's have a taste and see if we can taste if this is posh, if it's worth the money. Oh, it is actually. I'm afraid to say, guys, it is nice. So, spinach next.
Should
and
I
then do you
that?
want to heat up the chapatis for me?
I can. Do you want it? So I'll put the spinach in for you?
Yeah, thanks.
Yes. OK.
I like to work my guests hard. Now I'm going to put half the tarka in. So that goes in with the fat, because the fat is a nice bit. And you give it a good stir. Oh, look at that.
That's a beautiful
Ian, what do you reckon? Shake your camera. Yeah. Now I'm going to just gently fold in my very posh pumpkin. There we go. Or the temptation to just pop these in my mouth and not let anyone else have any. That would be wrong. So, now look at this. Look at the colour of that. Look at the tarka. Oh, look at the lentils. Oh, look at the spinach. That looks so good. Right, so I'm just going to clear off here a little. Are our chapatis heating up nice?
They're two ready.
And it really does make a difference heating up chapatis, doesn't it?
Oh, goodness, you have to do it. You have to do it.
It's just don't even think about not heating them up, guys.
OK, chapati's done.
There we go. Oh, look, we've got a bit of everything there.
Yeah, we need a lot of everything.
Oh, a lot of everything.
Yeah.
There we go. Crispy bits,
gorgeous.
crispy bits. I live for the crispy bits. So, here we go. Should we have a dip?
Can we try this? We try just the roti? Can we do that?
Yeah.
You're ready.
So when would you have this instead of rice?
The general rule is you have rice with meat.
Uh-huh.
And you have chapatis with anything that's vegetable based. I want to try that bit of
bread and anything for me. Lovely. Thank you. And thank you for...
That you did all of those things. Those mad things to that dal. It's amazing.
Oh boy, have we got a treat. A very intriguing sounding dish because Nisha is going to make us a gingerbread, and I can see the biscuits, very tempted to take one, lamb raan. But first, let's find out how we can make fabulous Indian food by taking a look at Nisha's top 5 ingredients.
These are the 5 ingredients that would take you authentically to any part of India. The first one is turmeric. We've got cumin seeds, we've got chili powder, garam masala, and lastly, the very unusual English mustard paste. Turmeric is the mother of all curry. It is the defining spice of India. It's a ground root, and so in a way, it brings that layer of earthiness to any dish that you cook, and in my view, it's the point at which a casserole becomes a curry. This is what takes any dish to that sun-baked soil of India. Chili powder is the father of all curries. It goes into every single dish, and it goes in not to give heat, but to give that layer of warmth. A really good experiment with chili powder is if you fry a little bit in butter, smell it, it smells of roasted meat. It's an incredible thing. So use it for warmth. Don't use it to numb your tongue. That's not what we want to achieve. Cumin has many guises. When it's in its raw form, like this as a seed, it smells almost like tomcat. It's acrid and it's gruff. But when you fry it, it turns to citrus, woody gorgeousness. When you roast it and grind it, we use it as a dressing on salads. And when you roast it and don't grind it, that's what you add to meat curries to give you more oomph. We don't have curry powder in India. There is no such thing. We don't even know what that is. What we have is garam masala. It is a blend of about anything from 3 to 20 spices. So, for instance, my mother's blend is green cardamom, cinnamon, and cloves. To that, my blend, would add coriander seeds and cumin seeds to give us that oomph. The other interesting thing about garam masala when you're buying it, look for garam masala that's quite red because that means it's got the expensive spices like anise and cinnamon in it. The ones that are quite grey are full of coriander seed, which is a cheap ingredient. Look for red garam masala. Some of my earliest memories in my Varanasi home in India was waking up to the sound of my grandmother grinding mustard seeds between 2 stones. And from those black seeds, you would get this yellow paste. So although it's called English mustard, it's very much an Indian ingredient. We use it particularly with vegetables. So potato dishes, spinach dishes, green bean dishes. When you add a spoonful of mustard towards the end, it gives it a bite like nothing else. I even add mustard to cauliflower cheese. You get a flavour like no other. Just try it.
Wow. Amazing ingredients. You're actually going to be using 4 of them, are you not, in your dish?
I am, yes, across the dishes, 4 of them.
A little bird told me that.
Yeah.
Tweet, tweet.
And you'd watched it, But yeah, 4 of them. So we really do live by those ingredients. You can go, and I see what you did there. I see what you did there.
I'm only going to do 1.
Oh, well, you can't have tea without dunking a ginger nut, can you?
I'm trying to imagine. We've got lamb, we've got onion, garlic,
yeah,
ginger and ginger nuts. What are you doing? That's
a bit bonkers, isn't it? So I'm making a gingerbread raan. And a raan is a spiced roast lamb. Basically, it's one of the few ways in which we use an oven in India. So, you know, historically we didn't have ovens. So the history behind the raan dish is that they say that this was a dish that was cooked by a king to impress Alexander the Great.
Oh, wonderful.
Because he does like his roast dishes. But the truth is, this is kind of a tribal dish, and they would always make it with goat, really never with lamb. And it's a good way of using the legs of the lamb, you know. So rather than the shoulders that are kind of softer meat, they dig pits, and they would cover these with spices and with yoghurt.
You're such a good tenderizer,
great,
isn't it, to me?
really great. So I used to make this, and I remember the way that I invented this particular dish. So I was making a raan, and my girls had made a gingerbread house at Christmas. So I was going to bring it over to the bin in about February, bring it over to the bin, and just popped it in with the ingredients, blended it all up, and roasted it, and it was divine.
Oh, my God, I love this idea. I love this.
So
I love hearing about the funny ways that people stumble across recipes.
yeah, it's an incredible... And when it works, and it works so well...
So what was your thinking behind it? Was it what would be...
It's that having... So this is very Christmassy flavours. I'm going to be using cinnamon, I'm going to be using garam masala, which is all those aromatics. It's really interesting because it doesn't taste like ginger nut biscuits when it's all cooked through, you know, because the spices are through it, and because the onions go in. So the onions are going to form that liquid base.
Right.
Because otherwise you're just going to end up with a desiccated mass, aren't you? So onions, ginger and garlic.
Lots of garlic.
Yeah,
Ginger goes so well with lamb. You might not think that, guys, but honestly it does.
Because it wakes it up, doesn't it? Because it's a heavy, dark meat. I'm going to put some oil in. Now, the reason I put some oil into this is because I want... You know, you think of these rubs almost like moisturisers for the skin. You know, you're rubbing it in and you want it to penetrate and bind with the fats within the meat. The best way to do that is to use a little bit of fat in the rub. In terms of the spices, we are back to that meat spice, garam masala, that I was talking about, which is this aromatic blend of anything up to about 20 spices. I'm going quite heavy. It's about 2 tablespoons. And then, because I want to pick up a little bit more of that kind of Christmassy, warm, autumnal winter flavour, a bit more cinnamon. So if you fancy a particular ingredient, you might like anise. You throw anise in, but you play with it and make it your own. And let's throw a bit of salt in. And then, as simple as that, in with the ginger nuts. So I'm going to just let me do half of these for now, then blitz it. And the liquid will come from those...
Onions.
Onions, right. Let's pulse it. Oh, it's a bit frightening and brutal at first, and you think, what am I doing with this? And it really works.
I love it. Love this idea.
So if you feel it's too dry, add more onion. It's the onion that gives you that liquid. And you see, those biscuits have gone to nothing. Suddenly I look less insane, don't I, when it's...
Well, no, you're still looking pretty insane at this point.
OK, fair enough.
Imagining it.
Let's get some more of this in. But
a lot of ginger nuts.
A lot of, yeah, well, you know, it was a whole house. It's a bungalow. It's a whole ginger nut bungalow in there.
With an extension.
Yeah. But it's as simple as that. There you go. And then what we do is simply slather it over the lamb. So you've got your oil in there. Make sure you try and poke it into those gaps. Thank you very much, yeah. And then what we're going to do is tent it with the foil.
Yeah.
And put some water in the bottom of the dish to kind of steam this. Because if I left it open, it would bake really quickly and you'd get this really sort of dark...
burnt,
exactly. So what we're doing is we're being brave enough, just being brave enough to steam this kind of ginger nut rub. Not perfectly, it's fine, as long as most of the moisture remains in. And then we just pour a bit of water...
Oh, outside of it?
Outside it, exactly. So it's just generating a bit more moisture in there, just to prevent that kind of scorching of the biscuits. And so that's it.
Wow, brilliant.
And it will go into the oven, but this one doesn't, because here's one I made earlier. So, you know, it's a good long roast. It's something you put in before you go out for a walk and then it's ready for dinner. So it's about 3 hours, depending on the size of the leg of your lamb.
Could you go over that?
Yeah, you could.
If you went to the pub on the way back.
Yeah, that's true. You'd have lamb crackling, which is even better. OK, so if we just have a little look at this, can you see how brown... Oh, look at the juice and the moist. Now, what you want is you want to be able to pull this apart, honestly, with a spoon. That's the kind of place that you get it to. So if we just cover that up...
So that's going to rest.
Put this over here, and then we get on with the other dishes, which are so simple and so fast and so delicious.
OK, let's do it.
OK.
Ooh, poppy seed potatoes?
Poppy seed potatoes.
Yum, yum.
This is a fantastic... You know, this is great if you've got leftover boiled potatoes from roast dinner yesterday. I need a little bit of oil in this, so it's not quite like roasties, but, you know, a bit of oil. Because into that oil, I'm going to drop our nigella seeds. Nigella seeds...
Oh, I love them.
She's the queen of the kitchen.
That woman's got
apart from
everything.
you.
She's even got her own seeds. Chilies.
Chilies. So wherever you use nigella seeds are great in dal. You know, like your dal.
I love them.
Hand in hand, they must go with green chilies.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Really interesting. So in Indian cuisine, whenever you use mustard seeds, always use a dried red chilli. Whenever you use nigella seeds, always use a fresh green chilli.
Oh, cool.
So those green chilies just begin to fry, and then let's whack the heat up a bit more in with the white. And they must be white poppy seeds.
Why must they be white?
Because the black poppy seeds are what Eastern Europeans use in their desserts. They're not something we use. White poppy seeds are what we use. Very often we grind them, and that's how we might thicken sauces.
Oh, OK.
The other way in which we thicken sauces is sometimes with ground melon seeds.
Oh.
But what we don't do is make a roux.
Oh, so they're going now like a caramel colour.
They're going, and can you smell? They smell nuttier. And they're going to give these potatoes a real crunch. So as soon as they start to go brown...
They smell a bit potatoey, really.
Do you? Yeah. Let's get those in. In with a bit of salt.
So within...
And let's switch that off now.
Within the different regions in India, the food is very different. And in some areas you don't use ginger and garlic, is that right? Is that a religious thing?
It is really interesting, actually. So it's more of a religious thing, that. So my father, for instance, was a Hindu priest. And strict Hindus were not allowed ginger, garlic, meat. Even the chickpeas, seen as heavier kind of, you know, pulse ingredients, were forbidden because they're seen as kind of passion-giving or heat-giving. It's like
What, get you in the mood?
Well, yeah, there's a bit of that.
Oh.
And so as a result, interestingly enough, on that point, widows in India, the Hindu widows, were not allowed anymore to have onion and garlic and meat in their diet because of that.
What, almost like an aphrodisiac?
Yeah, it's like the yin and yang in Chinese food. Some ingredients are heat-giving, some are cooling. And it's the same in Indian. So those heat-giving ingredients were banned because you suddenly had to live a very impoverished life. You know, your head was shaved as a widow, you wore a white sari. My grandmother, my great-grandmother was the same. And suddenly you had to cook in a very different way. But those widows became complete trailblazers in the kitchen. Like this dish. It's just potatoes, poppy seeds, green chilli, nigella, no onion, no garlic, no ginger, none of those labour-intensive ingredients, and it's utterly delicious. So it's, you know, out of those kitchens, due to the strictures, come some of the best dishes in Indian cuisine.
Backed into a corner with no onion and garlic.
Exactly.
What am I going to do?
Literally. And things like, have you heard of asafoetida?
Yes, I have, yeah.
You know, that was a resin from a tree that they discovered, the widows. If you grind it and fry it, it emulates exactly onion and garlic. So you get these amazing, clever streaks of culinary genius that come from that dreadful life that they had to live. OK, so these are done.
Wow.
Fantastic.
Easy.
Now I'm going to cook my green beans.
Lovely. Green beans, green beans, green beans, green beans.
Do you like them? Do you like a green bean?
I love a green bean.
I like your song.
I love a green bean.
So, drop of oil in the pan, cumin seeds in.
I think the thing is, why a lot of kids won't eat vegetables is that adults don't take as much care with their children's vegetables as they would with their own. You know, when people say to me, how can I get my kids to eat vegetables? I say, make them tasty. Put butter or put olive oil, put garlic, put spices. Because actually, most kids love garlic bread, don't they? So if you put garlic oil or garlic butter and you say dip your beans in that, they'll have it.
Exactly.
So we've got hot oil.
Hot oil. Into that went the cumin seeds because we're going to give them this real big overtone of big flavour. Sorry,
and
that's
pecans.
Yeah, pecans. And then into that, as soon as they start to go a little bit brown...
So turn it up a little bit?
A little bit. But they just suddenly they go, don't they, because of the oils within them.
Be careful with nuts. Be careful with your nuts. Be careful with your nuts. Honestly, you have to be so careful with your nuts.
You do.
Because you can take your eye off them.
And they've gone.
And they're useless a second later.
It does sound like a different kind of show, that, but
throw them away and start over again.
OK, in with our beans.
Yes.
So these are parboiled, but you could go straight in with frozen beans here.
Oh,
Thank you for
I love stirring.
OK, thank you. That's a big relief for me because then I can do my spices, which are mother of all curries.
Turmeric.
Brilliant.
I know this now.
Father of all curries.
Chili.
Exactly. And then we are going to up that cumin, up that aggression with a bit of cumin powder.
Wow.
But, a little bit more because just my brain needs that.
Wow.
But to bring it down back into a bit of sweetness...
Oh, honey.
I mean, why wouldn't you?
Oh, I'm very shocked. I didn't know that was going to happen.
Bit of honey.
Could you use maple syrup? It's
Maple
nice
syrup
in the
is kind of
pecans.
maple syrup is brilliant with everything, but it doesn't sit with Indian food. Although my daughter is doing a chicken curry with maple syrup at the moment that she swears by. A bit of salt. And then...
Oh, doesn't that look lovely?
Okay. And then we're in with a bit of good
Oh, I love that.
squeeze of lemon juice. So that's it. We've got the potatoes, we've got the lamb, and we've got the beans.
Mmm. Oh, wow. Shall we put them all together?
Yeah, let's do that.
And have a little moment at the dinner table.
Let's do that with a knife and
Let's do
fork.
it.
And a bib, a large
Yes.
bib, yes.
Come
Let's do
on.
that. Marvellous.
Let's have it.
Are you ready? OK,
Yes,
so
I am.
we cook this till it's almost spoonable. I'm cutting it.
Look at that.
Let's get you a nice slither of this. Hang on. There you go.
And I've
Let's
been
get some
picking
more
at the
of this.
beans.
Have you?
Oh,
How do you like the beans?
I just love them. Look, that the spices are amazing, and then that flash of lemon, the citrus, works so well with the pecans.
Some potatoes.
Oh, this lamb. Look, I mean, look at that.
How are we liking that that mad stuffing rub thing?
Oh, my banana tree.
Really?
Oh. You know how sometimes when you're watching a food show and you think, oh, it can't be that nice. It is that nice. It's blooming delicious. And next, I've got to make a carrot halawa in front of her. Let's just eat first.
You're going to be better at that than me.
Let's just keep eating. So far, we have feasted upon Nisha's sublime dish of tea-steeped chickpeas and black cardamom rice for breakfast. I served up my warming Tarka dhal for lunch. And for dinner, Nisha produced possibly the best dish I've ever tasted with her gingerbread lamb raan. So, no pressure for dessert then. Right, halwa, halawa. There's lots of different ways to say it, and lots of different countries have their own version. Now, when I was working with the kitchen fairies, are you there, Rosie? Yes. And we were thinking about how we could do this Indian style, because as you know, my dad is Arabic, and the halawa, is how they say it there, is a tahini thing. It's a tahini sweet that is made and sliced up, has nuts and stuff in, and you put it in a piece of bread. But I was talking to my dad about it last night, and he said, halwa just means sweets. Is it the same in India? Does halwa mean sweet? Or is it particular?
In our language, carrot halwa is a very particular dish.
Carrot. I'm going to
So
put
if
mine
that's
in a
what
dish,
you're making,
actually.
that's why I'm so interested to see how your version might differ. But I doubt there'll be much difference because your ingredients.
So is this
are
something you
almost
make?
exactly the same. We make it really rarely. Do you know, it's a funny thing. We don't. Desserts are something that you would have on special occasions.
Yeah.
And I'm talking really special occasions.
right.
So those Indian sweet shops where you've got loads of pyramids of different coloured sweets, they're all professionally made. By professional teams that will come to your house and cook them on your roof in big bubbling vats of oil. It's not something we have every night. Every night after a meal you might have yoghurt that's a bit sweetened or a bit of fruit. You'd kind of have this at special ceremonies and puja. So I'm not a big dessert eater.
Okay.
And I think, you know, many Indians, there are a couple of desserts we swear by. This is actually one of them. Yeah.
Well, lots of milk just went in there, and to that I'm going to add some sugar and some cardamom.
Is that ground?
I think, I think cinnamon would be nice with this too, actually. But is that? Would you have that in a? Is that not traditional?
No, cinnamon's not really something we use with desserts. It's cardamom.
Oh, okay.
Quite binary.
Oh,
really.
right.
Sugar,
Oh, okay.
cardamom, sugar, cardamom.
Yeah.
Yeah, and nuts. But
Yeah.
cinnamon is a funny thing. It's more of a European dessert flavour, I suppose. Well, certainly not a massive Indian thing in desserts.
Right, so next, what I would do with that is bring it up to the boil and then cook it. I was making it yesterday. It took about 45 minutes, maybe 50 minutes, until almost all the liquid, though not all of the liquid has gone. And rather fabulously, my kitchen fairy, Rosie, who's just behind there, cooked me one earlier.
Would you believe it?
So can we bring that one over and let's have a look. That, Andy, come and have a look, is how you want it to look.
Gorgeous.
Yeah? So that's the next stage. Now I'm going to add to it some... My dad, because I made this and my dad had it last night, and he said, this is food for the bones.
Oh, I love it.
Which means he really liked it. So now I'm going to add some butter. Just a little bit. But it is a lot of halawa. It is a lot. So you only have a small bowl of it. So we melt that in, and then, do you know what? The butter wasn't enough, so I'm going to add some cream.
Yeah.
But honestly, you have a tiny amount. Stir that in.
Now, yeah.
And to that, I'm going to add some mixed raisins. So I've got raisins, sultanas, and cranberries. Look at that.
Oh, I love that you got cranberries in there.
Yeah, for a bit of extra colour.
Yeah, and a bit of sharpness as well. Yeah.
So give that a stir. And now I'm just going to cook that down for about 15 minutes. I want it till it's like a rich golden orange colour and that there's none of the liquid left.
Are we wanting a porridge consistency? What are we looking for?
Yeah,
or semolina
like a porridge,
kind of
yeah, but like a drier porridge. Depends how you have your porridge, doesn't it? But I think this is perfect time for us to go and finish that wine that's over there.
Yeah.
15 minutes on a low simmer. Something like this, carrot halwa, and I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, I wonder if people are thinking, that looks a bit weird, it looks a bit baby food. But trust me, it really is lovely. It's just a comforting, creamy, so it's not overly sweet. It is rich with fat, but it's a real comfort food. Is this something you would have at home?
It's something you'd have at home,
restaurant?
but we would have it in a sort of more solid form and then we would cut it.
Oh.
But what is so lovely about this is why is it any less aesthetically pleasing than semolina porridge? Or,
Which isn't aesthetically pleasing at all.
Exactly, or rice pudding.
Well, I think it looks lovely.
I think it looks beautiful. I
Yeah.
think we've just got to open our minds to that and look at it in a different way. And it's utterly delicious and it's based on carrots. It's a great alternative. And I know that it was a long simmer, but it's so simple. What you showed us was so simple.
It's definitely ready. Look at that lovely creamy consistency. Actually, could you turn it off for me?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you, honey. I'm going to put a lot more in this bowl than I would say to have, because actually you only do need a teeny bit. So some pistachio nuts, some toasted flaked almonds. Shall we?
Yeah, it looks comforting.
Oh, so comforting. That's what we call rude. It's what we call sexy.
It's obscene, isn't it?
Yeah, it's obscene. It is obscene, but it's blooming delicious.
Buttery and creamy and porridgey and... Do you know what? But it's carrots, it's healthy.
There's a lot of carrots in there. Pure comfort food. What a day we've had of the most beautiful dishes. Let's have a look. Wow, what a morning. With Nisha's tea steeped chickpeas for breakfast. For lunch, a hearty dish of dhal to keep you cosy in the cold. Nisha's incredibly gorgeous gingerbread lamb raan for dinner, literally amazing. And my sweet carrot halawa treat for dessert. All in all, a fantastic Indian feast sorted. Thank you so much, Nisha. I've learnt so much. It's been wonderful. Carrot halawa.
Cheers.